Hello and welcome to another episode of the Happy Head podcast. I'm your host, Paul. Try saying that 3 times really quickly. And today I'm joined by Kirsty Kayn, who the reason why I've got her on the show is she's been an entrepreneur since she was very, very young. And she's gone through a few kind of mindset shifts to get where she is today. And she's got a great story to tell. So good morning, Kirsty. How are you doing?
I'm really good, thank you. I'm really good.
Cool. So tell us what got you started being an entrepreneur so young?
I think for me, it was something that just came really natural to me. It wasn't like from a young age, I never had that figure to follow that was the person that had their own business. It wasn't really like this is what my parents are doing, so this is what I should be doing. I don't know where it came from. I don't know what happened. I don't know where I got the idea originally. But when I was very young, so kind of 5, 6 years old, I climbed the ladder into the attic of my old family home, brought down all my old toys, put them outside at the front door. I took my dad's car keys, went into his car, took out the travel blanket from the back seat, sat it in the street, and I sold all my toys to passers-by. Now, I'm very much a strategic problem solver, and the whole reason for that was I had asked my mum the night before when the ice cream van came if I could go to the ice cream van to get some sweets, and the answer was no. So I automatically thought, well, I'll just make my own money. I'll make my own money, I'll be independent, I'll do my own thing. Now, I was a child, like my youngest daughter is 6, and to think of her doing something like that completely blows my mind. So yeah, I done that. I got my money. I went to the ice cream van, and I was very proud telling my mum that I'd bought my own sweets. So it very much been ingrained in me, like naturally from such a young age, and that kind of evolved throughout my life. As I went into my teenage years and I was at secondary school, everyone was applying. Everyone in my year group was applying to uni. I didn't want to go. I just wanted to do my own thing, to live my own life, and to find my happiness doing what ultimately I wanted to do.
So, would you say that in your particular case, Kirsty, entrepreneurship is in your blood? Because there's always this kind of argument of nature versus nurture. So, what would you say?
I would 1,000,000% say that I was born with some level of entrepreneurship in me because I didn't know what it was. I just done what felt right, what felt logical to me, and that was to go and make my own money. I never had, it's not like I was 5 years old and looking at my dad running this big successful business and seeing that example. Like there wasn't an example. And at that time, obviously, there was no internet, there was no social media, there was none of that. So I just done my thing, and it just happens to be that I eventually found out that had a name, and that was entrepreneurship. So as my life went on, and I tragically lost my dad when I was 10, my mum found her new partner. They've been together a long time now. He had his own business, and he's a very, very successful businessman. So he's retired now, but growing up from the kind of age of 9, 10, right the way through to when I moved out of staying with my mum and her partner when I was 17. I did move out very young. I did have that example of this is entrepreneurship, this is the hustle, this is what we do, this is how we can afford these nice holidays. And to get a little bit of a taste of that and to be so independent, it was only natural to put 2 and 2 together and to evolve into the businesswoman that I am today.
So, at 17, you started your own beauty business. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. This was just before I moved out of staying with my mum. So I went to college because, like I said earlier, all my year group were all applying for university. And I remember sitting in the library at school, and I was, I think, 16, almost 17 at the time. Everyone was applying to uni, and I sat there, looked around at everyone, and I thought, I don't want to do that. I don't want to just do it because everyone else is doing it. I'm very much a go against the grain kind of person. So I
Mm-hmm.
thought, well, if we all go to uni, I'll do something different. I don't know why that is the way that my brain works, but it just is. Um, and I had a conversation with my mum, and my mum said to me, like, I don't mind what you do as long as you're happy, but you have to do something. Now, I was originally going to go and travel. my mum's partner had said to me, look, go see the world, do your thing, it's what to be done. And I kind of got a little bit nervous right at the last minute because I didn't want to go and do it all myself. I had a very funny mindset that actually came from losing my dad. And I thought, if I'm away from my mum, what if something happens to her? So that, looking back now, I can see how much that did hold me back in certain areas of my life that could have been massive for me. Like traveling changes people, and I have traveled a lot, but I did miss out on that in a gap year, with a couple of years of traveling. So my mum said to me, you have to do something. What are you going to do? And I said, look, I don't know. It'll, like, the right thing will come at the right time. And she had said to me, look, go to the local college, find something that you're kind of interested in, do it for a year and see what happens. So I looked at that as, well, it'll keep me busy for a year and it'll give me some time to think. So I enrolled in a health and beauty course, and I very much went into that with the mindset of I'm here to pass time, not I'm here because this is what I'm insanely passionate about and all that. And my tutor actually picked up on that, and she said to me, look, you are flying through all of this work. You really have a skill that a lot of people here don't have. She's like, I don't usually say this to people, but why are you not enrolled for the next couple of years of this program? And I said to her, well, to be honest, I'm just here to pass time. And she's like, look, I must have been a pain of a student at the time, because I was so set in my ways of what my mindset of what I wanted to do. And my tutor had actually said to me, look, I would really love for you just to give it a try and see how you get on. And the more I got involved in all of that and really found my niche at the time, which was in skincare and the science behind it all, I really, really enjoyed it. And during my holidays from college, which was like Easter holidays, October holidays, and the summer, I had put out flyers in the most expensive neighbourhoods in my town. This one big street that everybody wants to live there. I actually stay just around the corner from it now. I put out all these leaflets because I thought I'd rather practice my treatments over the holidays to make sure that I'm constantly evolving. Like, I don't want to take time off. I'm not someone to sit and just do nothing and waste time. So I put these flyers out, and before I knew it, I was fully booked. And that stemmed into me being a mobile skin specialist and then opening up my first beauty salon as well. I was 20.
Do you think if you hadn't gone to college, you'd be in a different place now to where you are?
I think so. And not just in my physical life, my business life and all that. But I know I don't think I'd be staying in Scotland for a start. I am very much a free spirit, go for the adventure, me too kind of person. Like, I know I would have ended up either in the States or over in the Far East someplace. And I think it all really depends on what impacts and influence I was surrounded by. And I would have cultivated that and built that into some form of business. But to be honest, I don't know what that would have looked like.
Okay, so we've been to college, we've started this business and kind of sold out really, really quickly and set up your own in-house, as it were, rather than mobile
Yeah.
business. What kind of happened from there to lead you to where you are today?
Yeah, so I realised that I was trading my time for money. So I was fully booked, but I was working myself into the ground. I was down at my salon from 7 in the morning, sometimes not coming home till 8, 9 o'clock at night. I was there just about every day. And there was one treatment I was doing on, I won't name her here, but on a very well known person in the TV presenting world. I was doing a skincare treatment on her, and I was getting paid £60 for that hour-long treatment, and I was excited about that. I'm excited about this client. Now, when I came out of that treatment, she bought products that I sold to her in probably 3 or 4 minutes, and she spent £300 on those products. Now, I made more profit in those 3 or 4 minutes than what I did in that hour. And that made me realise I'm not going to be able to have the financial freedom that I want in my life if I constantly trade my time for money. I need to do something that I'm creating an asset and able to retail and sell that asset over and over to then make my money that way, where it's not depending on my time. So during all of that, I had also had my first daughter, and I realised I want to spend time with my daughter. That's where my heart is. That's where my soul is. I want to be the mum that is always there for her. And I knew that I wouldn't be able to do that if I was putting her in nursery and working like 40, 50, 60 hours a week. I had to do something different. So I had a brief spell in network marketing. I love people. Human connection is just my thing. I thrive off of it, which is one reason why lockdown does not suit me at all, because I love my people. And during that stint in network marketing, I was retailing a lot of products and I was making good money. I was building up this team of people, but I was introduced to the mindset world and the goal setting and the coaching. And I loved, out of everything with that, my favourite thing was to help my team build their businesses. And that's when I realised that's where my heart and soul is, to be that first drop in that ripple effect and to help other people build up their businesses so they can live the life that they want to live. And ultimately, that allows me to live the life that I want to live as
well. What's been the biggest challenge since that day you sort of put the flyers out to where you are today?
I would say the biggest, it wasn't so much a challenge. I think for me, it was the biggest event, was May 2018, when I walked out of my marriage, my 11-year marriage. I walked out with my two little girls, who at the time were 4 and 6. And I left everything behind. I just took the girls, my dog, and a van full of their belongings. And I jumped head first into the unknown. And I jumped and I hoped something would catch me. I hoped somehow I would land on my feet. I hit rock bottom pretty hard and pretty fast. But I soon realised that if that's as low as I could get, like not even just mentally, because mentally, yeah, it was hard. It was a real struggle. More of the fact I had like a 5-year plan. I knew where I wanted to be, what I wanted to do. But at this point, I didn't know what the next day would like. And that really just, it made me so anxious and so fearful. And I was paralyzed by fear at this point. But the thing I found really difficult was I had 2 little girls looking up at me, thinking, you're our like security here. You need to make this work. And having those little girls look at me made me relentless in my pursuit of getting myself to where I am now. But it was a hard time. It was a really hard time. I walked away with only £32 in my bank account, and there was a direct debit due to come out from my mobile phone for £30. So I had £3 in the bank. A whole lot of relief, a lot of fear, and just, to be honest, a lot of guts about, this has to happen and it has to happen now. Let's just go and wing it and see how it turns out.
So what did you do? What did you do to bring the money in? What was the catalyst that got you from having £3 in your bank account to where you are now?
So I didn't want to stay in my old family home. I wanted a completely fresh start. And I actually found this house that I'm in now almost by accident. And I was told that this house, I phoned the letting agency and I said, look, I want to see inside this house. And they're like, no, not a chance. The person that's in there has certain things going on. They're not allowing viewings just now. Now, I was relentless with this house. I knew this was my house. And I phoned the letting agency every day. Can I view the house today? Can I view it tomorrow? Can I view it the next day? And I was told, if you phone back again, you're never ever going to view this house. I thought, okay, well, if I'm not going to phone, I'll email. So I started emailing them all the time. And like when I say I was relentless in what I wanted, like I went all in. So I used to park my car outside this house and walk the kids to school, because the school my girls go to is 2 minutes from here. I used to walk them to school from here to feel what it would be like to have that as our daily walk. We used to play at the park across the road. We used to shop at the shop that's just down the road. We used to get coffee at the Costa near here because I knew this was going to be my house. Now, at that point in time, I couldn't afford the rent. I couldn't afford anything. So I spoke to my mum, and my mum said, look, I will support you financially for 6 weeks, then you're on your own. And I said, okay, that's fine. 6 weeks, that's a lot of time. There's a lot I can do in 6 weeks. So I took her up on her offer, moved into this house. Thankfully, my mum's partner had said to me, look, you don't have a car anymore. I'd lived that at my old house. He said, I'll sort you out with a car. So he got me this little car. And I thought, fine, I have 6 weeks to rebuild everything. What can I do in this 6 weeks? And I threw myself into my business because just before this whole ordeal happened in May 2018, I had started my coaching business, but I'd kind of just dabbled in it, a little bit of mindset coaching, and had some clients that really weren't paying very much money at all. My very first mindset program that I retailed was only for £10. And I remember that first sale, I celebrated as if I just made £1 million because I knew like £10 was like, it was not any amount of money, it was nothing. But I knew if I could create something and sell it for £10, I could create something and sell it for 100, for 1,000, for 10,000. It's the same thing. You can, like, if you can make money once, you can make money again and again. So I threw myself into my business and I fully launched what was at the time, my Mindset Coaching Academy. And this was for powerful females that had gone through a bit of a struggle that wanted to come out that other side. Now, that was very much me. That's where my life was at that time. And all I was doing was creating the content that I needed to help me through all of this. And if anything, I had created something that completely on a selfish level was everything that I needed to help me. But it just so happened that there was so many other women that needed that same thing at the same time. And those women helped me start that snowball effect with my business and ultimately got me out of the depths of rock bottom.
That's a lot to do in 6 weeks.
A lot. An awful lot. I actually remember in this house, the amount of times I fell asleep on my living room floor, like just about every night, with a massive big pad of paper from the flip charts and a whole bunch of pens. I was drawing out strategies. I had strategies drawn on my kitchen window and whiteboard marker. Like I was a crazy person at that time, but I knew if I really worked hard in those 6 weeks. Thankfully, it was over the summertime. My mum was able to help out with the kids. My mum almost nurtured the kids enough to make sure they were okay with all this new situation and all the change, and just let me do my thing and get myself to where I wanted to be. And I knew by the end of those 6 weeks, I had no choice. It wasn't a sink or swim. Like I had to swim. I couldn't sink. There was no option for that. And I just had to go all in.
So was it for this particular period of 6 weeks, were you offering one-to-one or was it a course, an online course that you were selling?
I was actually too scared to offer one-to-one at the time because I thought if people see me, like just off the bat, if someone said, right, turn up at 11 o'clock, we'll have this session together, I was scared because I didn't know if I could actually hold it together for that long. So I didn't do any live stuff like that at all. All I done was create an 8-week program all about money manifestation, and I relentlessly sold that. And also I really promoted my membership because I knew when it comes to a membership, that's monthly recurring revenue. So if I could get that to a certain amount to pay for my house, to pay for my bills, I knew that my bills were then covered for the next month and the month after that. So yeah, it was a lot of work. It was a lot of figuring out the right thing, testing things, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't, making the changes and going again the next day. Like I was exhausted.
So were your advertising and your lead generation, all that kind of stuff, was that mainly organic? Because obviously you didn't have any money to invest in ads at the time.
Yeah, even now I've never spent a penny on any form of ads. All the marketing that I do, everything that I do is all completely organic. And I've got myself to a stage now where the main thing that I coach with mums is making 4-figure weeks their brand new normal, because I'm lucky enough to be in a position where I've worked my business that well that 4-figure weeks are my normal thing. And to be in this position and to look back just a couple of years ago, 2.5 years ago, to where I was, it's, if you had told me in May 2018, like in January 2021, you will be having multiple 4-figure weeks, I would have been like, what the hell? Like, this is not possible. But to be honest, it's something I'm super, super proud of.
What would you say to anyone who's in the situation where you were a couple of years ago, when you got 6 weeks support and then it kind of stops? What would you say to one that's in that situation right now?
To believe in yourself, because nobody else is going to do this for you. Like, if you, I knew I had 6 weeks. If I didn't make it work, my mum wasn't going to turn around and be like, okay, well, here's some money. You know, believe that whatever it is that you need to do, that you will figure it out, but you have to show up. You have to do the work. I was up when the sun came up. I went to bed just about as the sun was coming up again. I didn't sleep well, but I had done as much as I could to nurture myself and look after myself as well as I possibly could during that time. But also with the whole anxiety about everything, I was in a tiny little bit of that self-sabotage, like not eating as much and working out until I couldn't even stand up anymore. But I knew if I just kept going, if I just made it through these 6 weeks, it would be so worth it. So you really just have to believe that it's possible for you. And when you have that really strong reason why you have to make it work, if you believe it enough, you will make it work.
If you could go back in time to change a thing that happened in your lifetime, would you?
It's funny, I've been asked this a lot because I have been through multiple different, very difficult situations in my life. More in the 33 years that I've been here than what some people will ever go through in an entire lifetime. I had a very difficult spell in my childhood with abuse from a family member. I, like I said earlier, tragically lost my dad. I'm very much a daddy's girl. Lost my dad to a motorbike accident when I was 10 years old. Just before that, my parents had separated. My brother was living with my dad, so then he came back to live with us, and we didn't get on at all. My brother didn't want to be there. We were both navigating grief in our own way. My way to talk about it, his was to completely shut it out. My mum's way was to completely shut it out. I wanted to talk, nobody wanted to listen. So it was hard. There was a lot of stuff going on. I was then assaulted quite badly as a teenager. I then obviously went through my divorce and everything else, and then hit this rock bottom. So there's been a lot of stuff going on in my life, but I know I'm a huge believer in the butterfly effect, and I know that if something had changed in my childhood, I would not be where I am now. And I am so grateful for where I am and the person that I am and who and what I have in my life. For me, it has been worth going through all of that adversity to get me here. So no, I don't think I change anything.
Excellent. So what are you doing right now? What have you got going on?
Yes, so back in November 2019, I actually went to a business mastermind with my business coach at the time. I was fully doing my mindset coaching. It was working good. I was making good money. I went to this mastermind. I was actually gifted a place here, so I couldn't afford to go. I was gifted this place, and I flew down from Scotland down to London City Airport, went to this big fancy mastermind in Canary Wharf, sat at this table with 11 other six-figure, not even other, but 11 six-figure business owners. And then there was me that literally had to count pennies to pay for my Uber from the airport. I sat there with the biggest level of imposter syndrome ever. I thought I shouldn't be here. Like, what the heck am I doing? And like, you're so stupid for thinking that this is your thing to do. And when I walked in, I was actually delayed in the morning. So I I went to the airport at 4:30 in the morning for my flight. My flight was delayed. I didn't take off until the mastermind had actually started. So when I eventually got there, I had missed the whole first part of the morning. So I walked into the room, not knowing what everyone was talking about, not really knowing what we were going to be doing or who these people were. And I sat down, and the lady that was hosting this event actually said to me, "Okay, Kirsty, now it's your turn." And it took me back to when you're asked in a classroom at school, you've not been paying attention, and the teacher's like, "Okay, so what do you think?" And I was sitting there like, "What?" I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. And I thought, right, I could either feed them something just to wing my way out of this, or I could get really vulnerable on the spot. And I could completely let my guard down in this safe space with these other people and say, "This is where I am in my life right now. I need some help to get to this next level." So I decided, you know what? I was usually a very guarded person. Going through everything I've been through, my guard was like an iron gate. And I decided, for once in your life, let it down. So I did. It was not my moment of comfort at all. Talking about being out with your comfort zone, like I had like pole vaulted over and out of that comfort zone sitting in this room. And all of these other women had said to me, "I've been following your journey online. I think this is what you should do. I think this is your direction." And 11 out of 11 of these other powerful business owners said to me, "Your zone of genius is in the business world. You're great at your mindset coaching, that's fantastic, but pair that with business coaching. You are a business coach." And it took that moment for all of these other women to say this to me, for me to finally believe the fact that I've been helping so many other people with their businesses just as a favor, just because I like to do it. But it's time for me to start charging for that. It's time for me to build a business out of that. So I naturally evolved with my business and fully stepped into my business now, where I am a business coach, and I pair that with mindset coaching and also the law of attraction. And that is what I coach with my ladies that I work with now. So I purely work with mums who are building a business in the online space, who want to make more money, who want to unlock that ultimate level of happiness, success, and freedom, because that's where I have got myself to now. And it's work that doesn't feel like work. Like, I just feel like I get to have the best conversations every day, do what feels amazing to me, and it's given me everything that I got now, and it's got me through so much. And to be honest, I couldn't be happier with where life is now.
Now I take it you work one-to-one with people.
Yeah, definitely. I actually had my very first one-to-one client. Would have been October 2019, and she signed up for 12 weeks with me. She paid in full, and I thought, great, this is it. Absolutely balling now, living the life, first one-to-one client. We had our first session together. Now, this lady had booked without having a discovery call. We hadn't had a conversation. I didn't know what I was doing at this point. She just booked through my website, and I've now clearly taken away that option, because when we got on our first call together, we were so out of alignment, it would never have worked. And after that first call, I refunded her all of that money in full, and I broke down in tears thinking there must be a better way than this. So I worked relentlessly on my strategy and realised one-to-one, for me, these deep, honest, meaningful conversations takes me back to me sitting around that table at the mastermind and having somebody in front of me asking these questions, letting my guards down and being really vulnerable and open in that safe space. That's what was created for me at that mastermind, and that's what I create with my ladies with one-to-one. And I also still continue with my membership as well.
That must have been a really, what's the word I'm looking for? Difficult thing to do, to actually be really excited and, oh my God, I've got my first paying one-to-one client who's just come out of nowhere, which is even more miraculous. And then you get on the phone with this person and realize, oh my God, no, we're just not, it's not going to work. It's a complete kind of 360-degree turn, isn't it?
Yeah, it it broke my heart, if I'm honest with you, because that first Christmas where it was just me and my two little girls, I had a little bit of help from my mum and her partner, and we made it all magical and it was fine. But looking at what I had contributed to that Christmas, I didn't feel I was doing the job I wanted to do as a mum.
Mm-hmm.
So knowing that Christmas 2019 would have been the big special one, and then having that client, knowing I had all that money there, I could make Christmas absolutely magical, and then giving all that money back, I thought, oh no, what do I do now? But ultimately, again, believing in myself enough to make it happen, when I gave that money back, I actually, off the back of that, I had a very open conversation with a couple of other potential one-to-one clients, and two of them signed up and paid in full, and we hit it off very, very well. Christmas was spectacular.
I'm guessing that your big why, the reason why you do all this stuff and go through all these things, is your kids and the need for you to kind of demonstrate your ability to be an independent mum who gives their kids whatever they need.
Yeah, well, I remember, so going back when I was 7, my parents had just separated. My mum and I moved into this tiny little house. Like the house was not in good condition at all. There was about 8 locks on the front door to keep the front door on the wall. Like, it wasn't great. Like, I, at 7 years old, witnessed my mum's rock bottom. And I used to lie in bed at night. I used to hear her working. She was a bookkeeper, so I used to hear her filing through all these folders and things, and then go to her bed and cry. And I thought, this is a lot for a 7-year-old to witness, even after everything I've been through in my childhood. So one day, being the vocal person that I am, I said to my mum, you know what, let's have a takeaway for tea. And it's almost as if I was challenging her to be like, is this really your rock bottom, or what you got to give here, kind of thing. Probably not my proudest moment, but it led to the biggest pivotal moment, I think, of my life. Because my mum and I walked to the local chip shop, and we were in the queue. The shop was packed with people. We both ordered something to eat. Now, in this chip shop, you would go in one door, and then you would move along and then come out the other door. So we were at the front of the queue. We had just ordered our food. We were moving down to where you pay. There was easily another 10, 15 people in there, super, super busy. And the lady at the till had said to my mum, like, it's £8, whatever it was. Now, I looked up at my mum, and she opened her purse, and I just remember hearing those coins moving about in her purse, and the look of shame and guilt and embarrassment on her face, because she didn't have enough money to pay for food for both of us. So she said in front of all of those people, I don't have enough. I'll just take the food for my daughter, just leave mine. Now, to witness that from my mum, to remember that look on her face, made me realise from that age, I never, ever, ever want my children to look at me like that again. Like, I never want that to be a thing. I don't want to repeat this pattern. Now, there's so much that I went through in my life that stemmed from things that my mum went through in her life, and a very generational kind of thing. Having 2 little girls, raising them 90% on my own, looking at those 2 little girls, knowing how difficult I have had it, I would rather be the one that does all the work and breaks all those cycles so that my children don't have to experience things that I experienced. I don't mind having to do all the work and doing all the nitty gritty stuff and the hard stuff, but all of that sure as hell will not affect my children. Mm-hmm. So my why is really to break all those cycles that I've repeated for however long, and to give my girls the most support for them to step into who they truly want to be, without having to be so guarded, without having to be so scared. Like, I'll deal with all that, but I'm not passing that on to them. So that's my true driving force when it comes to my kids.
Thank you for that, Kirsty. Where can people get hold of you? What's the best place?
The best place, to be honest, is over on Instagram. I hang out on Instagram all the time. So my Instagram handle is just at Kirsty Kayn, so Kirsty Kayn. The best place, to be honest, is just connect with me over there, and then just drop me a message if it's something that you want to chat about.
Listen, Kirsty, thank you so much, because you've been really kind of You were a little bit guarded to start with, but towards the end of this conversation, you've been really open and honest and, like you say, vulnerable. So I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
More than welcome.
And I'll obviously put your Instagram handle in the show notes as well.
Perfect. Thank you very
So
much.
thanks for your time and speak to you very, very soon.
Thank you so much.
Bye now.